Welcome back, YouTubers. Today we're talking Buddhism in China. I find some very important core beliefs or learnings in Buddhism and Confucian culture. Very deep in China. But it's not what you think. Living in Australia, I've studied Buddhism, Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path. I spent a lot of time with some monks in Australia with their parent temples in Taiwan. When you study China history, you have this vision of Buddhism must be everywhere in China. Everyone must go to temples. There must be temples everywhere. But you come here and you find that ain't the case. It's very different than you expect. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. There's so much history in the people, in the culture that's around you everywhere here. They don't need to go to the temple. They don't need to go and pray every day. Pray for forgiveness. Sure, there are some beautiful temples here. There's so many temples around China that have now been restored since the revolution. The revolution here in China, it certainly had a big impact, and because all the monks were seen as a threat to Mao. Through this period in China, so much of that was shut down and hidden away. A lot of very special artifacts and history was taken away from China to Taiwan during this period. Still to this day, so many special artifacts and historical treasures of the past from China, of China, are all stuck in Taiwanese museums, which China hopes one day they can get back. I've traveled all over China, so many cities, and some in search of the Buddhist temple that I thought would be that special sacred place that I had in my mind after my many years of studying Buddhism and the culture. But I found it a very different situation. As the government's tried to revive all these things, bring back all this culture from, repair the damage from the revolution. The government has put a lot of emphasis on a lot of these facilities to revive things. A lot of that's come in the form of financial help and support. But it's also ended up, I feel, a lot of these places becoming like not a sacred temple where you can go there for a visit free and get inspired and get some guidance. But many of them now are a bit like going to Disney. What's like going to like Shanghai Disney? They're all charging at the gate. I find no monk will talk to you unless you spend some money. Unless you donate some money, then they will talk to you. I found something very different in Taiwan. You know, the temples in Taiwan, they're totally open. They're very free. They're very accepting of anything, anyone that comes in the building, regardless of your past faith and your history, and they're very interested to teach you something without paying anything. You can go for a free lunch. And of course, these places in Taiwan and temples attached to Taiwan, they hope you'll make a donation. But they don't have a ticket counter at the door where they're taking your credit card. It's just a little bit different. Not what I expected. Sure, I think if you went searching very, very high into the mountains somewhere, you would find a few little temples where there's some monks hiding away, and there's still these places in China. But a lot of them have got very commercial. One classic place that I always wanted to visit one day was the Shaolin Temple in near Zhengzhou, and I'm very surprised to go there. It is so commercial now. There's thousands of Chinese and putting on shows there, and you can feel the history around the grounds when you walk around. You can feel there's some areas when you wander around a place like that. You can feel it in the air. It's very special. But it's a bit shrouded by all this commercial activity around the place. In some of these temples are 2,000-3,000 years history, and they're now revived, and they're beautiful places. They're beautiful examples of what the past was. But they're certainly not, I think, what they were, what they once were. So if you're a Westerner and you've got this idea that you've been learning about Buddhism, and you think you might come to extend your Buddhism journey and your learning in China, have a good think about it and do a lot of research before you come here, because it's not maybe what you expect. I find so many people in China here now, when they think their idea of feeling in the current generation of Buddhist statues, to them it's important to a lot of them, but they pray to these statues, these images, and they pray to them like they're making a praying to God. They're making a wish for something and wishing they will get some special gift. Now, I learnt from all my studies, it's not about praying for a gift or praying for forgiveness or praying for anything. To me, it's more about having a guide, having an example to follow, having a good picture of discipline and control and focus. Practicing good virtues in life, in all respects of life, treasuring life. But I never see it like I could pray to a Buddhist statue and it will give me some blessing. It will help me have a wonderful life. It will help me get more money. It will maybe bless me with a baby, and not a girl, which a lot of people will do in China. Very interesting. Many of these temples in China and sites have got such a deep, long history. I think some of the history is lost. Some of that is preserved by these sites becoming heritage listed, UNESCO heritage listed. So they'll be protected forever. And their stories come with these places. But can you go there to continue your learning? Maybe. But it might cost you a lot of money. But life here is very different now. I think with the growth of China, with the opening up of China, of the commercialization of so many things here, there is still some very core fundamental things taken from Confucius and Buddhist thoughts and feelings and ideas. And one really core concept that runs through everything here in China, that influences everyone's decisions on how they deal with each other and how they're led by others, is what you call filial piety. It's basically the caring for your parents or the respect for your elders. In China, it is so important. It is a core fundamental idea. You need to respect your elders. You need to respect your parents. You must. And it's your duty to look after your parents when they're older, because they have spent their life looking after you, giving you an opportunity. And this is a really core principle that's deep in the history of Buddhism, way back, even in India, where Buddhism really originated. This filial piety as a concept, it's deep in everyone's veins here. It influences how they even look up to their manager, to their boss, to the leaders of the country. I see it influencing people here in China, even to the degree they look up to successful people in business, successful local officials, and see them as an example to follow, see them for guidance and inspiration, which is very different to the West. In the West, we see these people who have been successful, who I think a lot of people don't look up to them. A lot of people in the Western society will look at a lot of people that are successful and think that they made their success by stealing from everybody, or from ripping everyone off, or it's what they call in the West the tall poppy syndrome. Everyone wants to cut down the tall poppy because they're jealous. They're jealous and envy. But here in China, that inspiration of a successful person in business or a successful leader get promoted to a very senior position, even in the government, they are seen as an inspiration here in China. And this all comes from this core concept of filial piety, in terms of their association to more senior, more grown, more experienced, more successful people, just like they would to their parents. It underpins everything they do. It's deep in their decision making of how they deal with each other, how they respect each other. So when you think, how much is Buddhism and Confucian culture influence China today? It's still there. It's deep in the veins. It's everywhere. You can't avoid it. I think it's this is a part of the core of what China is for me. Some of you will think this very differently, but I feel it, I see it, and I watch people all the time, and I can see how they are inspired, how they're motivated. I find very few people look at someone like a Jack Ma and think he's become powerful and famous because he ripped a lot of people off. I find very few people want to pull down someone like President Xi. They're inspired by him. They're inspired by what he brings to the country. You know, people see someone driving a Mercedes down the street. People are not angry at them. A lot of people here in China are motivated and inspired by them. See them as, well, they can do it, I can too. And they're inspired to do better things. They're inspired to improve themselves. They're inspired to grow and develop. And this deep motivation, inspiration that's here in China, it's in everything. It's what's driving the country. It's what's making people work so hard and dedicate themselves to their families. They work so hard to give their families a better life. They work so hard to give back to their parents. I see young people here making incredible sacrifices to support and look after their parents that I've never seen in Australia. Never. You might think I'm just a little bit too over the top, but you come here, live here long enough, and you'll feel it. You'll see it everywhere. And you'll be humbled by it. It's quite incredible. People are not here out to screw each other. People here respect each other, respect the people above them, and are inspired by those people. It makes for a very harmonious environment. It's very competitive. Don't get me wrong. Very competitive here. But it's fair competition. You talk to young people here even. By far the majority of Chinese, would they get a tattoo? They all go, oh my God, no way. I wouldn't do that. That's disrespect my parents. My parents wouldn't agree. Like everything they do, they're worried about how their parents will see it, whether they'll get respect from their parents, and they're trying to respect their family. It's all about family here. Family is a really core part of what China is. Family is very tight, very close. Oh, well, that's my take on how Buddhism is still affecting China. It's not all about going to the temple. It's about following some core principles. It's about being inspired by others, finding inspiration to do the right thing, be the right kind of person, and care for the people around you. These are the core principles I learned in studying Buddhism. It's a way of life. And it's still alive and functioning in China. All right, off to work now. Hope I didn't bore you too much. Hope you found it interesting. If you did, feel free to like the video, share it with some friends, subscribe if you want to come back for more, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good day.